Hi, readers. Welcome to Goddess Garden Book Chat. I'm so glad you're here. Welcome to our book club meeting. And this is where adults who love a good novel, regardless of the genre, the weirdness, or the planet it takes us to, we find these open pages a wonderful place to be. Now, as I always state, we start our club off with be comfortable, be welcome, and be aware. Topics discussed in this book club include everything from basement dungeons to other worlds. I will read them all and share them in this safe place. There's a lot that we're going to cover here, so always know that we read that out loud at every meeting because it's important. This is a safe space to talk about all kinds of books. So whether it's morning, noon, or night, I'm so happy you're a part of the conversation. And I invite you to my social pages that are linked down below. And hopefully we can continue this conversation in Discord. That's where the book chats always happen where the club meets. Now, the design that I chose, because I've been on my mid journey thing and I've been making it so that as I envision the books that I read, I create. So I made this design based on the experiences that live in me, the most resonant experience about the books that we're going to talk about today. There's something out there for everybody to enjoy. So, what I found for us today is book one and book two. It is The Adventures of Tom Stranger, Interdimensional Insurance Agent. It's by Larry Correia and it's narrated brilliantly by Adam Baldwin. Now, this book was released in May of 2016 and I read it in July of 2019. Book two is A Murder of Manatees, and it is the further adventures of Tom Stranger, Interdimensional Insurance Agent, also by Larry Correia, also narrated by Adam Baldwin. Now, it was released in January of 2018, and again, July 2019 is when I read the second book. If I had my memory to serve me correctly, when I read the first one, I had to have the second one. These are both Audible books, so there isn't really a page count that I can share with you, but I can say that book one is roughly 2.5 hours, and so is book two. These are not lengthy books, but they are super enjoyable. So I'm going to introduce you to the cast of characters that make this a fun read, and then we're going to go from there. There's Tom Stranger, number one in customer service. Tom is about that insurance life. If nothing else in these books comes through for you, Tom was bred for the insurance game. Then there's his secretary from the Home World office. Her name is Muffy Sparklers Wappler. Muffy's a great assistant. She sort of has a Brooklyn type of accent going on, but trust me, Muffy is on her game and she's doing her job. Now, there's Jimmy Duquesne, who is an intern who is supposed to study under Tom so that he can then become a great insurance agent at Stranger and Stranger Insurance Company. Jimmy is from Earth 169J00561. And he was recommended because of his GSS Grill survivability scale, or let me get this right, the Bear Grylls rating system, which means your survivability in these interdimensional situations. You're prepared. You've got your wombat combat. Don't even ask me what a wombat combat is. You've got to read this book. But it proves that you're just not relying on this one tool should things get a little sticky. And then there's Wendell the Manatee, because Wendell is a king in his region. He is larger than life, which is why Wendell got a book too. Now, I'm going to give you a edited version of the plot, and I think the plot does some of the heavy lifting of what I want to share about the book, and then I'll just say I'm going to stop here and I'll interject my thoughts as we go through the synopsis. I think that's the best way to do this. Okay, so let's get started with the synopsis. Have you ever seen a planet invaded by rampaging space mutants from another dimension? Or Nazi dinosaurs from the future? Don't let this happen to you. Rifts happen, so you should be ready when the universes collide. A policy with Stranger and Stranger can cover all your interdimensional insurance needs. Rated number one in customer satisfaction for 3 years running, no claim is too big or too weird for Tom Stranger to handle. But now Tom faces this great challenge. Despite being assigned the wrong and woefully inadequate intern, Tom must still provide quality customer service to multiple alternate Earths, all while battling tentacle monsters, legions of the damned, an evil call center in Nebraska, and his arch nemesis, Jeff Conundrum. We're going to stop here. Conundrum and Conundrum Insurance is just the worst. He's always making fun of Tom when he shows up in an arbitration, and he calls him strangers in the night or uh, whatever thing you can think of to associate strangers. And he just does this to get under Tom's skin. So Tom's running tagline, I hate Conundrum. It is so much fun to get into this. So let me continue with the synopsis. Armed with his combat wombat and a sense of fair play, because Tom's all about fair play, can Tom survive? And will Jimmy the intern discover his inner insurance agent? It's time to kick ass and adjust claims. Now, the narrator who performs Larry Correia's madcap interdimensional tale is Adam Baldwin. And the underwriting of space travel, where the only thing scarier than tentacle monsters is a high deductible. Oh gosh, Adam knocks it out of the park. Now, Earth 345B9081 is where it all starts with an invasion. This is how the first book jumps off. And the reason that Tom is there is because he is the insurance agent for this Earth. Now, this Earth is still struggling with using Windows, and Tom has to remind them that there are Earths out there that are still using Windows Vista, which just sets off the general. And he starts throwing and acting out, and then he decides, I'm not using the computer since it won't act right. And he puts up one of those dry erase boards and draws stick figures of the invading hordes that are coming to Earth. And so it it becomes the meeting itself just gets off the rail. And conducting the meeting is Chuck Norris, who is not the Chuck Norris you know in this dimension. Oh no, he's President Norris. So as they talk about Tom's travels and how he's there to make sure that he's giving you everything you need as an insurance agent, he also has to deal with the fact that these hordes have to be dealt with. So he goes and picks up his intern. He immediately realizes that he was assigned the wrong intern. And that leads you to the call center in Nebraska. You don't want to wind up in the call center in Nebraska. Something happens to people that wind up there, and they just seem to become soulless drones that do nothing but answer phones and hello, can I help you kind of thing. But that's where Jimmy was supposed to go because his degree is in gender studies, which Tom had no clue what that meant and how that even translated as to why you're on my spaceship. Didn't you understand when I dropped down and put you on my ship and we went through that portal in space that you were on a spaceship? Jimmy's freaking out, screaming and crying and throwing up in the back. If you look at the image I create with that guy on the floor freaking out, Jimmy. Now, the author does something unique by inserting himself because Larry Correia on one Earth is so rich, he makes Elon Musk look like he has to watch his pennies. And what Larry does is he takes out an insurance policy on every version of a Larry Correia that is in infinite Earths. So when something happens on an Earth that Tom Stranger shows up on and he meets this other version of Larry, And he's like, I'm here to protect you. And he's like, what are you talking about? It's like, yeah, the other Larry on this earth, he's super successful. And you would have been too. But remember that day you wound up getting your head stuck in something instead of going to class? Well, he went to class and he went on to become great, whereas you are who you are now. And then there is this infusion of celebrities throughout the novel, but they're not in the roles that you know them because they're now in a multiverse and they're on another earth, so it's another version of them. So it becomes this hilarious little journey into what it means to truly have a job that is a part of who you are and making sure that no matter what, you are the best at it. Because I tell you that Jeff Conundrum is really low down. It is such a fun read. I hope you get a chance to enjoy the adventures of Tom Stranger. And it was so much fun that it led me to book two, where Wendell gets abducted. It is such an interest because Wendell's a manatee. So when they abduct Wendell, they have to abduct the tank he's in as well. This is also where Jimmy tries to prove that he's worthy of being an insurance agent, that he can do this job. Because basically, in book one, Jimmy is not really proving to be what Tom is looking for. And that's an issue for Tom because Tom only deals with excellence. So in book two, Jimmy tries to prove, yeah, I am that guy. Don't sleep on me. Jimmy's got it going on. That remains to be seen. And then there's my good friend Jeff, who never stops. He's the guy that always insures the opposition in an insurance claim. And they wind up being undercover, underrepresented. And Tom has to sit them down and explain if you had gone with Stranger and Stranger and you had gotten this type of policy, this would have taken care of the evil hordes that destroyed your village, destroyed your spaceship, and no doubt did damage to some things you care about. I hope you get a chance to enjoy these. These are just some short, enjoyable reads, things that if you just want to get out of your head and just go somewhere in space that is not weighted down with cosmic this, black hole that, um, event horizon, blah, blah, blah. This is a great way to spend your time. And I hope you enjoy it as much as I did. I think one of the main things that I enjoy about both of these books is it doesn't take itself seriously, and the things that you find entertaining and funny in any other sense you wouldn't, because the conversation about the insurance agent flow comes up because they keep trying to figure out, do you work for the insurance company that has the lizard or the gecko? He's like, no. What about the one with the chick named that hot chick that wears all white? I mean, they literally go through this whole list of, I'm not real familiar with you, Tom Stranger. And he has to help them understand, yeah, I'm not with those guys. I'm another insurance agent. So it all takes place in space, but it takes place on an infinite amount of Earths. You will be traveling as Tom goes from place to place to deal with insurance claims and disasters that happen in the universe. The creative value in books like this is immeasurable. It is a book that I often go to for excerpts, and it was so enjoyable that even listening over my shoulder, my husband heard this book and he loved it. I would have loved to have seen more things like that from Larry Correia, but what I found is I got another book from him called Monster Hunter, and it went in a totally different direction. um, I don't want to say it was less entertaining. It just wasn't what I was expecting, having come off of these books. So it's a little more serious, even though it is in the vein of monster hunting, and you really do see the earth being attacked. It does it in a way that makes it a little more serious, and I just wanted something lighthearted. But again, over here at this book club, we won't yuck your yum. If that's what you're looking for, Monster Hunter is a great continuation in the vein of weird things happening to everyday people who find themselves dealing with space aliens. You know it's going to happen eventually. Don't act like you think this is nonsensical. They're coming. Trust me, we keep calling them, they're going to answer. But all of that is not relevant to let's go ahead and talk about the ratings. Because again, let's go through all five of them. There's number one, the slow clap. Number two, the snaps. Number three, applause, applause, applause. Number four, cheers. And five, you get an ovation. And just for the creative nature alone and how much I've gone back and enjoyed this book more than once, I give this book an ovation standing. It is a great, great duet. And I hope that you get as much out of it as I did. So I'm going to go ahead and close here, and I'm going to leave with a focus on what books that are out there and return with a great read so that we can enjoy something new. Now, hopefully you're going to close this chapter with a bookmark, and until we meet again, my friends, find yourself a great book and get comfortable. And come to our Discord book club meetings. They're not in any particular time. And share what you're reading or share what you think about what I'm reading. Or let's just share on books in general. Have a good one, friends.